Tharoor campaign vehicle where Tharoor is on the, not on the driver's seat, but on the candidate seat here in Thiruvananthapuram Lok Sabha constituency. What a glorious day, sir, in terms of from the summer. What a respite with such a nice cloudy rainy day. Is there a Tharoor way of saying this?
Well, it certainly was the hottest campaign, quite literally, because we were having 35, 36 degrees of weather, heat every day for the last month. And suddenly today we had this dramatic rain which was torrential, drenched us completely, drenched the poor people waiting on the street to receive us. So I took an executive decision to just suspend the campaign for a couple of hours, let the place cool down, go into interviews and other things and come back when it's better. Right now, it looks great. I'm sure we'll move along fine.
It's a nice day to campaign, but the political temperature is quite high here in Thiruvananthapuram. It's become a personality clash between Rajiv Chandrasekhar and you. Rajiv says you have done this personality contest primarily because you've engaged in personal attacks, primarily because you want to hide your whatever failings have been there as a member of parliament.
I have no particular failings I'm aware of. I believe I've had an outstanding track record as a member of parliament for Thiruvananthapuram. I have a 66-page report of achievements and detail in Malayalam which people are reading and reminding themselves. And at the same time, I think most of the country knows me as somebody who has spoken up effectively on all the major debates facing the country. So I don't see where the failings are, except obviously somebody who has not been in Trivandrum for the last 15 years, like Mr. Chandrasekhar. He can only say these things because he doesn't know the reality.
Well, as you say that, sir, in terms of this personality clash between you and Rajiv Chandrasekhar and the optics of it seems to have squeezed out the CPI candidate and an ex-MP.
First of all, there is no personality clash. It is a clash of ideology. We're talking about Kerala having to make a choice between a candidate who not only delivers, but takes certain very clear positions on the key issues facing the nation, versus a candidate who represents a party that has communalized discourse in this country, that has presided over a demonization of minorities, particularly Muslims and Christians, who are the two substantial minority populations here, a party which has weaponized CBI, ED, IT and so on, and a party which in the process has brought our democracy into discredit. Today we are being seen outside in other countries in the world as an electoral autocracy rather than the full-fledged democracy we were. And all this is the legacy of the BJP. So for us, we are running against that ideology, running against what they have done to our country. And that's the message. I happen to be the personality who's carrying that message in the BJP's strongest constituency. So they're trying to make this about personalities. It's actually an ideological debate. And in that ideological debate, I believe we have the upper hand, as we've done in the last two elections.
Okay.
As for the communist candidate, it's also true that in the last two elections, the BJP came second. Even though in the 2009 election, I took the seat from the communists. And the communist MP who was a sitting MP at that time is the candidate now, 15 years later. But despite that, they've run a rather lackluster campaign, and it does look more and more like a straight fight with the BJP, in which I'm ahead.
As you make that point, and I'm asking you, with the left and the Congress being national allies in a parliamentary election, is it clearly, a precursor to things to come that Kerala is becoming a Congress versus BJP battle? May not be in terms of vote shares, but in terms of the larger narrative in Kerala, the left and the Congress are together vis-a-vis the BJP. So does this make this state move towards a larger BJP versus...
It's not a contradiction. First of all, it's happened before. We have spent 55 years opposing the LDF in the state. And power has alternated between us for the last 55 years. But at the national level, on key issues, particularly the communal issue, they have stood with us. In 2004, they won most of the seats in Kerala, but they supported the Manmohan Singh government when it was formed in 2004. So it's no contradiction. We have our country essentially two sets of elections going on. There is a national general election, but there is also undoubtedly a set of 29, 30 state elections. Because in each state, the political character of the state is different, the history of the state is different, and the realities are different. So here in Kerala, left and us are against each other. Very next door in Tamil Nadu, CPI, CPM, Muslim League, Congress, DMK are all together.
Okay, so what about accusations of a tacit understanding between the left and the Congress in a seat like Thiruvananthapuram, which is potentially the reason the BJP is being kept out? That's one accusation.
There's never been a tacit understanding between us because we are sworn enemies in the state of Kerala. And if you talk to any congressman about the left or talk to any leftist party worker about the Congress, you will see how strong and how deep the feelings are and the passionate feelings there are. If anything, we have seen a number of places there has been collusion between the left and the BJP because the BJP nationally really believes in pursuing this Congress Mukt Bharat concept. And therefore, if they find an election is tight between the left and the Congress, they would rather see the left come to power than the Congress. And so, even in the last assembly election, there have been a number of seats where there were plausible reasons to see that people who normally voted BJP were asked by their party to vote for the left. That's the deal. It's not between us and the left.
Okay, when you say that and you mention the ideological confrontation, etc., etc., one of the things observers have pointed out about the INDIA alliance is the lack of a categorical stable face as an alternative to Narendra Modi. You've got a bunch of parties coming together, but do not offer a concrete solution while there is a problem statement.
We're offering very specific concrete solutions. Look at our manifesto. Look at the 5 Nyayas we're putting across. We have very, very concrete solutions that we are offering. No doubt about that. As for a face, this is not a presidential system, it's a parliamentary system. And the parliamentary system, you're voting for ideologies, principles and policies. You're not voting for a face. At the end of the day, at the end of this period, we will find the face. The leaders of the coalition that wins the election will find the face. In 2004, no one was voting for Dr. Manmohan Singh's face, but he gave you a very stable government for 10 years. Why can't you expect that again?
Okay, you're going back to the 2004 experiment. My last couple of questions here on this bumpy campaign trail here in Thiruvananthapuram, wading through the traffic right there. I asked this question to Rajiv, and I'm asking this to you. Why Shashi Tharoor and the Congress and not Rajiv and the BJP or Panniyin Ravindran and the left for Thiruvananthapuram, Kerala and India?
Because in Thiruvananthapuram, they've had a successful MP who's worked with them and solved their problems repeatedly. We've seen a situation where, for example, when the Cyclone Oki struck, I was out there on the coast for 4 days making calls to the Navy, the Coast Guard, the ministers, dealing with their issues, seeing their problems too. And when it came to COVID, I was the first MP in India. Within 24 hours, the lockdown being announced, I actually managed to go and get RT-PCR test kits into Trivandrum, PPE gowns and masks and so on here.
Before we move on, I also asked Shashi Tharoor to drop his politician hat, put on his diplomat hat, and share his thoughts on the Prime Minister's comments to the US magazine Newsweek on the case of China and the need to resolve the abnormality in relations between India and China. This is what he had to say. The Minister has said that it's time to resolve the border issues with China, to resume bilateral talks. Can you put your politician hat aside and put your diplomat hat on and give us a response on your assessment of it?
I will put my patriot hat on, which is very simple. The Chinese killed 20 of our brave Jawans in June 2020. They have occupied permanently 26 posts out of 65 that both armies used to patrol in for all these decades. This is the only abnormality that needs to be addressed. The Chinese have to withdraw from that and restore the status quo ante, where both countries had a viable modus vivendi since 1976. If the Chinese don't do that, there can be no normal relationship with them. We cannot deal with the Chinese from a position of weakness. They will never give us an inch more if we do that. We have to be very firm. The action required is not from us, it is from them. They are the ones who have violated the status quo ante. They are the ones who have taken over our land and our patrolling points. They are the ones who absolutely must redress that situation. Then we can talk about normality.
Thank you very much.